Today's video is going to be about electrical wire, how to do wiring, how to use the right type of wire nut, and how to tie up two wires together. In this video, I'm using this electrical wire stripper. This particular wire is 12 gauge solid. Many people do things differently. I'm going to show you how it's typically done. I mean, you could get away with it. It will make connection with the wire nut because the way wire nut is designed, it has some kind of metal with thread in it that's supposed to hold two wires together. But I'm going to demonstrate for you the disadvantage of, wiring it with just a wire nut. All right. So people do it to save time and they will just want to move on from one job to the next. But it's not very wise because in the future you will have problem with your circuitry. So this is the most typical way. You take two wires together. You take a right size wire nut, which in this case is going to be the yellow one. I just wanted to demonstrate to you there's different types of wire nuts and different sizes. It's very important to use the right size. In this case, I'm using the yellow one because the yellow one I've used and I find it very effective with just two wires. All right, the red one, you could get away with 4 wires connection together. So I'm going to go and try to, loosen it with the wire nut in place. I'm moving the wires around just to show you that the wires do come loose. And you know how it goes with electricity, with the electrical wiring. Once the wire is loose, you're going to get flickering lights, you're going to have loose connections, you're going to have arcing. That's why, as you can see, option 2, it's going to be the real solution. It's going to be a real lifesaver for those issues. So all you have to do is go one step, take it one step forward. You take 2 wires and alignment plier and you just twist the wires together until you are comfortable. Once you twist the wires, make sure they're nice and tight, and in some cases you see the difference over there. All you have to do is, take a alignment plier or a wire stripper and cut the tip of it. So when you do twist in your wire nut, it will, fit nice and snug, nice and tight. In this case, like I said, I'm using it, the yellow one, because it fits perfectly with 2 12 gauge solid wires. And I'm going to do the same test for this case. I could shake it all I want. Worst come scenario, the wire nut may come loose. In this case, it's not coming loose. But, you could rest assured your wires are not separating, or it's not going to cause any kind of loose connection, which is what you want. If you see an electrician working or somebody, make sure they are doing this. And if you are the person doing the job, please do the job right. Customers don't like to call you back for the same job. So, the third portion of this video is to show you, the different size of wire nut do matter. In this case, this particular wire nut, I use it for 3 wires together, and you don't get this wiggle when you have 3 wires. But in this case, it's only 2 wires, right? So red color, 4 wires is fine. I'm talking about 4 12 gauge. You're not going to get this loose like that. It's not loose, but you are able to move it. So, the yellow one is perfect because it fits perfect. It's snug. It doesn't move. Electricity, you don't want too much movement in the wire. You want the electrons to flow through without any issues. Once the wire starts moving, the electrons starts jumping, and that's when you have problem. All right. So in this case, I have, I believe they're 18 gauge wires. I want to show you something different with 18 gauge wires. Because the wires are so soft and small, you are able to manage them, and there are certain things you don't have to do. Life is much easier. These wires are typically used for a doorbell or small alarm lighting or something to that extent, which use less voltage. But in this case, you don't have to use lineman's plier or anything like that. You could just take the right size wire nut. In this case, I'm going to use the orange one, which tend to be for these kind of work. And look, all I have to do is hold the wires together, and you see it's twisting by itself because the wires are soft enough, small enough to be manageable, and you could just twist it and you get a nice twist right there. you saw me, I didn't have to use lineman's plier. So with this kind of wear, you're fine, no issue. So I'm going to cut this off. I wanted to show you something else that I'm thinking about, which I would think you might find it beneficial. This video is all about benefiting other people. Please, if you find this useful, take your opportunity to subscribe to this channel, share it, like it. It helps the algorithm promote my videos to other people. And with that said, what I want to do is I want to continue with the demonstration. In this case, I'm purposely using different size of wire nut to show you what we just accomplished in the past. We are not able to do if the wire nut is different size. You see, it's not even staying together, right? This one, look at that. Nothing's happening. All right. So imagine you didn't have a right size wire nut and you just go like this. You won't accomplish anything. All right. So the right one is the right size, which is in this case the orange one. Please do make sure it's snug and nice and tight. And look, the wires are stripping. The wires are twisting correctly. This is beautiful. This is what you want. So our next example is the braided one. This is 14 gauge wire. I'm going to show you how to connect two braided wires together, which is slightly different. And I'm going to show I'm going to share a different tip that I normally use for this kind of wiring. Because remember, the braided type is softer, flexible, easy to handle. In this case, I'm using two different, gauging. I'm using the 14 size gauge, and I'm using 12 gauge for a reason. Because, you don't always have similar type gauge wire to work with. Sometimes you have multiple type of gauges that you are working with. For example, a light fixture or a fan fixture into a house electric line, which might be 12 gauge. So this particular white wire, is just for example, guys. You never connect the white and the black together. It's against code. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just connecting them because I didn't want to cut a piece of wire out of a roll. So whatever I had on my toolbox, I just want to make a quick demonstration to show you what's going on. The key of this demonstration is two different size gauge. You have 12 gauge and 14 gauge. Both of them are stranded or braided. So I'm going to do what I did in the previous demonstration. I'm going to try to use the wire nut only and not twist it before applying the wire nut and see what is the outcome. So you get a nice twist there, but it could get better had you done it before you put the wire nut in. I'm sure the wires would look better. Why in this case? Because it's braided and different size. It's a good idea. You could either do it with your hand, with your fingers, you could twist them, or use lineman's plier. I generally don't like to touch wires, exposed wires with my hand. So I, by practice, I use a plier or something because sometimes you think the circuit is dead, but it may not be, or someone turned it on. It's always good to assume the wiring is live. In this case, obviously it's not, but it's a habit. It became a habit for me. Try to use pliers for exposed wires. So in this case, look, I did the twisting. I used the right size, but being that it's flexible, this braided wire is flexible, so you're able to move it around. And I don't like to move wires while they are already connected in the wire nut. I'm sure the electrons don't like it either. So what I want to do is I want to show you this new this tip that I use. I use electrical tape. As you saw me start off, I start off like that, and then I just snap off. Once I get a few turns, I should say, of the electrical tape onto the wire, I get myself into this situation where, look, nothing is moving. Both of these wires are together. Even if the wire nuts come loose, and believe me, sometimes they do come loose, you have no issues because the electrical wire is going to hold the wires together no matter what. Going forward, you could do this to all your wiring. Every time you connect two wires together, you could put electrical tape, just for sure, just to make sure they stay together. I think you would find it beneficial if I unwrap it, take the electrical wire out. I wanted to show you how nice of a wire, twisting, this was. It went through a lot of testing, but look, it's still nice because I used a lineman's plier and got these two wires together. So I wanted to show you, if you just put the wire nut there and you don't twist it and you use electrical tape. All right, I wanted to show you how that would work. I mean, normally no one does this on a electrical wiring. This is just a demonstration here what I'm doing. Remember, I didn't even twist the wire nut in this example. I just wanted to show you how effective this electrical tape wrapping is. Look, the wire nut is not going anywhere. You know the wires are twisted together because you twisted them. But look, I just put the wire nut as a cap, and the electrical taping idea is so effective that don't have to worry about it. I could just leave it off like this. Should in case you ran out of wire nut or something, and you need to do this job, you could just leave it off like this temporary, then come back and put the right size wire nut. So this was just a demonstration. I wanted to show you how effective this method is. All right, and that's beautiful. So our next example here is going to be, connecting two solid 12 gauge connected together with a braided 14 gauge wire. Believe me, you run into these issues on the ceiling or in the outlet, sometime on the switch. But I find mostly with the lighting fixtures, when you're changing lighting fixture, you run into these situations, or the fan, where you have two solid 12 gauge and you have to connect a 14 gauge light fixture wires. So when you do that, look, I used a wire nut that's appropriate for these three wires. So you have two solid ones and a flexible wire. So I'm just trying to get it twisted with the wire so that the flexible wire, which is the 14 gauge in this case, doesn't come loose, because it can come loose, So I just wanted to make it a nice twist, where it's not only twisted up there, because remember the other two are solid, they're together, but this one is going over, so if you pull it, it will come off easy. That's why you want to do a good job twisting it, especially when you have in this situation. And again, this electrical tape will do wonders here, because I have two different type of wiring, and what else better to hold these three wires together other than good old electric tape. And you will see when you start using this, it's great. I mean, you feel confident that your connections will never come loose, unless someone, of course, makes it go loose or takes it off. Look how firm this is. Look how strong this is. Look how useful this idea is. I just want to share this with you.